pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Larry Cohen.
Here.
Betsy Dennis.
Here.
Jennifer Edge.
Here.
Christine Galvo.
Excused.
Frank Garnett.
Here.
Georgia Patchen.
Here.
Mary Beth Stevens.
Excused.
Bill Zapp.
Excused.
Melissa Thompson.
Here. Mr. Hilberg, will you review the fire exits?
Fire exits are behind our audience. They're there on the LGI.
Would you like to introduce our workshop?
We're privileged this evening to introduce Mr. Mulhern, who has a great group to speak to the board tonight.
Good evening, everyone. We're presenting a brief workshop tonight on autism awareness. April is Autism Awareness Month, and not only in Beacon, and not only in New York, and not only in the United States, but around the world. We have a table outside. If when you get a moment, you could look at it. Every year for Autism Awareness Month on April 2nd, the world lights up in blue. And the Empire State Building, the Eiffel Tower, the Taj Mahal, many, many places around the world have been lit up blue. We have photos of them for you to look at, as well as information. I'm going to be very, very brief because we have a number of guest speakers. One of them is Richie Joel, who's handing out some gifts to each of you in honor of April Autism Awareness Month. So the folks that are going to follow me are guest speakers who are active in the field of autism awareness, as well as some of our students, a former student and a current student, and our parents. So without further ado, let me introduce our first speaker, Jesse Saperstein.
Thank you, Mr. Mulhern, and also it's a pleasure meeting all of you from Beacon High School and the school district. My name is Jesse A. Saperstein. I'm 31 years old, and I decided to write a book about my experiences called Atypical Life with Asperger's in 21 chapters. Basically, what I want to give to you is what did not exist back in the late 1990s, which was understanding, a sense of what we can do to help those who don't quite fit in but have so much to offer your school district. And just so you know, I will be looking at my watch constantly. It's not because I have a hot date in a short time, which I don't. It's to not go over 8 minutes, which is very hard to do. You know something, even when there was virtually no education or tolerance, there still was in my district. There's enough to keep me going, and I'd like to share with you what helped during those times. I'd say having compassionate staff members. I think every staff member should be educated about those on the autism spectrum. For example, sometimes kids with autism, they're manipulated. Like the day when I was asked by a fellow student to ask Signora Falcone what the word fangula meant in Italian class. It's very critical. I'm not going to tell you what it means, but you can use your imagination. It's critical to understand how some people can be manipulated and try to get both sides of the story. Furthermore, what will also help is perhaps a class that caters specifically to those on the autism spectrum. I know that Arlington Central School District has an impact program in both the middle schools and high schools. It's a self-contained class, even though the students go to other classes throughout the day, mostly comprised of those on the autism spectrum. It's not just a way for them to stay out of trouble. In my opinion, they're well behaved. It's a way to teach self-advocacy skills, the importance of personal hygiene, and most important, compromise. The other thing that saved me, which I was able to teach myself, that maybe you can teach your kids to do, is the art of self-compromise. No matter how ridiculous or age inappropriate the situation may be, try to find the compromise sometimes on the original compromise. For example, a student who chooses to wear a anime outfit 5 days a week, maybe you can tone it down to just 1 day a week, then offer praise for every time that student compromises. This may be more appropriate for the younger students, but make it possible for faculty members to advocate for other students. Unfortunately, we're constrained by the times we live in, lawsuits at the drop of a hat, but maybe we can compromise as well. For those students who are comfortable and parents who think it's a good idea, they can sign a release form or whatever you call it to avoid getting sued these days that states, you have permission to advocate for my child to his fellow students, talk about what makes them special, and talk about the beauty of autism. What can also help are student mentors. By the way, has 8 minutes passed yet? Okay. How about student mentors? I think that mentors are critical. Ideally, if they also have Asperger's. I never had somebody say to me, you know, Jesse, I have the same disability, and this is what happened to me, the consequences I had to live with for asking out like 100 girls in a row in a short period of time, or saying a very specific 4-letter word subsequented by the pronoun you to one of my teachers. Back then, everything had to be learned the hardest way possible, and that should change, I would imagine. Also, student mediators. I think it would help in especially instances of bullying to have students counsel their fellow students. This is not original, by the way. I stole this from a documentary I saw 8 years ago or something. But for bullying, maybe you can have 2 students counsel those students involved and try to come to a common ground. I think that we tend to not give our students enough credit, our children actually. Maya Angelou said it best, when you know better, you do better. So the best thing you can do, the greatest thing, is provide education, no matter how cumbersome it may be, no matter how many eggshells you have to walk upon to make everybody happy. Do your best to provide that education, not just amongst yourselves, but have people come in who also have Asperger's. That's always helped. Every school I've gone to where I've spoken, there's been a dramatic shift in attitude. The students with Asperger's are essentially either left alone, but most of the time people see them in a different light. They think of what makes them special and unique, as opposed to what makes them weird, creepy, sketchy. All the names that I used to be called growing up, but fortunately things have changed for me, and I'm confident that in this district your students are not going to have to write a book or jump out of a plane on purpose to achieve the compassion that I enjoy in my life. That's right, I did jump out of a plane once to end bullying. I hope it worked. But I think I have like 1 precious minute, so the last lesson I want to impart is practice the ratio of 1 to 3. It's critical to accept certain realities that will never, ever change. In my opinion, you can do a lot about bullying, but you can't always control whether students choose to give people the break they deserve. You're not able to call a parent and say, your child has been ignoring students who have Asperger's. Your girl is not accepting the prom date of a young man who has Asperger's. I think it's important to practice the ratio of 1 to 3 to compensate for those students who are they're not always accepted, and they try to fit in like the square peg grinding its way into a round hole. Whenever a student does something negative, try to find 3 more occasions which they do something positive, and save your overreacting for when the student does something right. All kids, especially those who have autism, are not able to look themselves in that mirror and show themselves that mercy that does not always come from somebody else. So I'd like you to be their mirror reflection for who they are and what they will become sooner rather than later. So thank you, and the last thing I want to say is that we tend to rise to the standards we set for ourselves, and that hopefully your kids with autism will set for themselves in the near future. So thank you and good luck to you.
Good evening. I'm Janephilia. I'm head of youth services at Helen Library in Beacon. And I would like to just speak briefly about community partners in regards to autism awareness and with working with the school district. It is up to us as a whole community to also promote autism awareness and educate the public. Helen Public Library hopes to model community and organizational involvement. And as I always like to use as an example, it's our best example, is our friend Richie Joel, who was a former Beacon High School student. He was part of the School to Work program, and Rich worked at the library through that, and then when he graduated, he volunteered at the library 3 days a week. Well, the staff got to know him and admire him, and we realized what an asset he was, and his volunteerism did turn into a paying job. Rich is responsible, conscientious, and we're fortunate to have him. I've also had a lot of teens with autism join several of the library's teen clubs throughout the year. And a couple of years ago, one such girl began to confide in me about how hard it was for her to make friends and that people made fun of her. She actually said, "I wish there was just a club for people like me where we can talk to each other." And her words rang in my head until I realized that really we are, the library, one such community organization that could help. So with Ruthie Novell as my mentor, we put our heads together in order to make a teen support and social group outside of school a reality. I had secured a community foundation grant for seed money, and when Nancy Osborne, the behavior specialist from the Anderson Center for Autism and part of the support staff here in Beacon, agreed to head the group, we knew we were on a roll. There is an instructional and social component that makes for a fun, relaxed, supportive Friday afternoon club. Now in our second year, Ruthie and I run the group alone, and we call ourselves Teen Connections. I'd just like to read you our mission statement. Teen Connections provides young adults with a safe, supportive, non-judgmental environment so that they may express themselves, share their talents and passions, and be empowered to use these strengths to connect with their peers and their community. The grant has also enabled us to build on our books and resources for parents, teens, children, and educators. The library has a permanent autism display of new books and current resources and information. It has been a pleasure to work with and have the support of Frank Mulhern. I believe that it's important for businesses and organizations to collaborate with the Beacon City School District in order to facilitate a supportive post-high school transition for young people on the autism spectrum. And it begins with awareness and education. And I'd just like to show you a brief example of another business who is supporting autism awareness, and that's a new tattoo shop called Honorable Ink. They teamed with Autism Speaks to participate in Ink for Autism, and during the month of April, if anyone is thinking about getting a tattoo, just in case, they have a beautiful autism awareness tattoo they've created, and 100% of the proceeds does go to Autism Speaks. So I just thank them, and it's really nice to see community involvement. Thank you.
Good evening. Hello, my name is Ruthie Novell. I'm a parent of a student, Alexander Novell, who attends Beacon High School and has Asperger's syndrome, which is under the autism spectrum. Autism is called neurological because it involves the brain. The areas of the brain that are affected are learning, communication, social skills, and sensory difficulties. The U.S. Center for Disease Control mentioned last year that this year, and also this year, 1 in 88 children in the United States are diagnosed with autism, and that's including 1 in 54 boys and 1 in 252 girls. This information is disturbing. Because of these figures, you will be seeing more students entering the Beacon City School District. In the past, my son and I, Alexander, we've done presentations. Can you hear me? I feel like I can't be heard. Okay. We've done presentations for his peers at school. We gave some knowledge of how autism can affect one of his fellow students, hoping that it would help them to continue on their character traits, such as compassion, patience, understanding, and acceptance of other students that may be different from them. All students want to be respected, accepted, and understood by their peers. As a parent with a child on the autism spectrum, I've made it my mission to seek out knowledge on how autism may have affected him. Alexander has taught me how to be more compassionate, patient, understanding, and he's made me a better person, and I thank him for that. Because of the knowledge I have, it's helped me to meet his individual needs. I've realized that when his individual needs are supported, his anxiety levels are lowered, which allows him to reach his highest potential, and that's a blessing. When you meet the individual needs of students on the autism spectrum, sky's the limit. For teachers and school personnel, it's important that ongoing training be made available to them. This would allow them the opportunity for more knowledge, understanding, and the tools that they need to meet our children, your students, individual social, emotional, and academic needs. For the parents, we have a parents' autism group who has children attending the Beacon City School District, and it's led by the Director of People Personnel, Mr. Frank Mohern. We meet once a month. We discuss how the parents and the Beacon City School District can work together to meet these students' individual needs so that they can reach their highest potential. Mr. Mohern, there you go. On behalf of the group, the parents group, we want to thank you for your continued support. Last but not least, I just want to end off by saying that it's a win-win situation for all. The Beacon City School District can predict, prepare, and plan for our students on the autism spectrum. Teachers and school personnel with ongoing training, this would allow them the opportunity for the knowledge, understanding, and tools they need to work with our students on the autism spectrum. And parents. Parents will have the sense that their children are learning to their fullest potential and are happy in their learning environment. And our children, your students, will feel safe, accepted, and understood in school. I know that by working together and supporting the individual needs of these students on the autism spectrum, we can make a big difference here for them in the Beacon City School District. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Alexander Parneville. I'm a sophomore at Beacon High School. I have Asperger's, it's for autism. Autism isn't the way of being and thinking. I'm an advocate for myself and other students in the autism spectrum. Support to me that my teachers and other students who work in the school district have knowledge and understanding on how autism can affect students' learning, communication, social skills, and sensory difficulties. For example, for myself, I'm sensitive to certain sounds that can be painful and certain types of touch. These are some examples, not just in school, but in general. Once school personnel has more knowledge of how to work with students of the autism spectrum, all things are possible. When more school personnel understand other students of the autism spectrum, I feel the Beacon City School District can make a difference for the students to learn better, feel more safe, and just like my own peers, I want to feel successful, respected, accepted, and understood. Thank you.
Every time I think it's easy to get up here, but for me it's very difficult to speak in front of people. My name is Carlene Brand, and I am a parent of a son who is a senior here at Beacon High School and has Asperger's. I'd just like to say a couple of things. Being that this is my probably last time here because he's going to be graduating in June, we have come a long way as far as when we started 13 years ago. He started in kindergarten, and but thanks to Mr. Mulhern and all he's done, it's just been really good for us. We've had ups and downs, but mostly ups. I feel that the child gets an IEP that gives his educational meets his educational needs, but in Asperger's, there's a social need too, and it's very important for the child to get those social the social needs met, because you can go out and be a brilliant honor student, but if you can't function socially, life will be difficult. So I would hope that you hear me, but would try to do. I know Frank has been doing, Mr. Mulhern has been doing a lot of things. There's been a lot of changes, but it's really important to have a social part in school, because we can do whatever we outside of school, but it's really important. And if you educate the students on the differences and challenges of children with autism, and they are more aware, they'll be more compassionate and maybe want to get to know these students, because they're really great. There's, everyone I meet with challenges of autism, I could say, wow, what a great person. But a lot of times the students are afraid or maybe not aware of and don't get to know these children because maybe they feel they're different. And everybody's different in their own way. And also the training, I know there's been more training, but training for students and staff, and even custodial or security, or everybody in the school should be aware of how they can make it better for these students, and in turn it'll be better for every student. So I would just like to thank you for all of everything that the school district has done for my son, because he is very successful. We've had our ups and downs, but mostly ups, and he will be graduating. And thank you, Mr. Mulhern, for everything that you've done. You truly made our lives better. And I just hope that that you will consider what I'm saying and really put it, really consider doing something. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Richie Joel. I'm 20 years old and I have autism. I was a Beacon High School student who graduated here in 2010. Over the course of the 4 years, I had some ups and downs like a seesaw. I had gone through on and off depression, loneliness, bullying, and struggles with my disability. Well, despite all those obstacles that tried to cut me down, I would overcome them by using my own set of coping skills, writing. It was helping me thrive anything that was against my way, because it was part of my interests. I basically thought all the bad things that have happened to me in the past, took my frustrations and wrote it on a piece of paper, and then it would turn into a work of art. by doing that, it was the beginning of things to come for me and set the tone for what I'm doing right now. Right now, I work at the Helen Public Library here in Beacon, New York. I help out patrons with problems with technology, shelf books, and make the public feel welcome and earn some money for myself. I use it for my aspiring profession, writer, motivational speaker, and World Autism Advocate. I reach out to people to raise their spirits and make them feel good about themselves. I'm writing a memoir right now called This Is Me, Life with Autism, which talks about my struggles and triumphs with my disability throughout my life. I make speeches at public places such as schools and libraries to raise awareness of autism, world problems, and most of all, inspire people to higher spirits. My message to you all, and teachers and staff and parents, to give students your best understanding and patience to every student so that you can learn much better. And it goes with everyone who has a disability and for those who haven't. Because one of my goals to have is everyone stop, look around, and see and stop the society's bleeding that is known as bullying. All we have to do is be the likes of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Charlie Brown, or Dumbo the Elephant. In a sense, despite all these odds against bullying and torment, we have to learn to embrace our traits and appreciate others for who they are. And if everyone in this room and 7 other billion people in the world chose to do that right now, maybe we could stop the bleeding that is known as bullying. My advice for you all right now is not just for anyone with disabilities or autism, but for everyone as well. If you're going through a difficult life, reach in your heart and soul to discover your talent. Use that. Use your ideas to set you free from your obstacles that are currently destroying you. Follow your dreams and heart by listening to that whisper inside your head and speaking to you. If you listen to it, you'll go somewhere. Cherish your visions because they're the blueprints of your achievements. You will succeed later on. Be yourself and be proud for who you are because you're original. Have faith in yourself. There are many individuals who become successful in life. No matter what successes or failures you encounter, you must live life, love harder, open doors, stay positive, create opportunities, and most importantly, continuously improve. We experience struggles and challenges that confront us every day. As time goes on, you get stronger by defeating them. Our hope is you won't stop learning, teaching, and dreaming. This message will remind you to push harder, strive for more, stay positive, remain strong, and be yourself to live the life you always imagined. All you need to do is enjoy, make it inspiring, create a difference, and live life to the fullest. I want to be a big symbol that anything is possible. I'm just an average person trying to make a big change in society so we can live in a healthy, peaceful, and beautiful environment that is make us adaptable for our home called planet Earth. My biggest supporters I have are my family and close friends right here, right now. I have them stored in my head and will remember them forever. I shall never let anyone change or break me or break my spirit because it's so powerful. Like I always say to everyone has a story to tell, and it's our duty to make the best out of what life has given us. If I could snap my fingers and be non-autistic, I would not do that because autism is a part of me and what made me so unique. And this is who I am and I always will be. I am Richie Joel.
Before I conclude the workshop, I want to thank you, Mr. Hilberg. Thank you for allowing us to have this workshop. We have some wonderful people here, and they only represent us. They are a small number representing a larger number. This district has 2 spectrum classes it didn't have 2 years ago. We are serving children that only 5 years ago would not even be going to school in this district. What's happened here is fabulous, and the board has approved this and followed through on it. I want to thank you for that. I just want to comment. Mrs. Brand's son, Paul, is graduating with a Regents diploma. Alexander Novell is a high honor roll student, and Richie is a 2010 graduate of Beacon High School. There's a lot of potential here, and if we're willing to work with it, and we are in this district, the board is part of that, we can make miracles happen and help kids really belong and to succeed. Again, I want to thank the parents for putting this together, and thank you for the praise, which I didn't expect, but it's all your work. There is a display outside. Again, if you care to and you have a free moment, take a look at that, and thank you again.
I'd like to thank Mr. Mulhern for your leadership. You're a great advocate, and we appreciate that very much every day. And I know that because I work with Mr. Mulhern every day. I'd like to thank the speakers. You did great. You did great. So thank you so much. We're just delighted that you're here, and I can tell you we listened very closely and heard your message.
May I have a motion for executive session?
Motion to adjourn to executive session to review the employment history of a particular individual.